Hello everyone, my name is Rafal and I would like to welcome you to another episode how I create this headshot. And today I would like to talk about this particular image, and I picked this image purposely. I've posted that image a few days ago and I've received a lot of positive comments, a lot of questions, but also what I've realized through some of those comments and the feedback I've been getting, that a lot of photographers, they don't really see the entire process which has to go into creating specific images. And that's why I've decided to do this video and show you entire process, how I got to this image and how this image was created. Because as I said, there's a lot of components which we need to look after, and most of us, we just focus on few things, and that's what we think creates the image. And I think this is going to be the best example, and I'm guessing there's a lot of things which are going to be quite shocking for you guys, but I hope after watching this entire video you guys gonna have a way better understanding how some of those images are created. And also I hope that this video will help you to see at images from completely different perspective, because as I said, most of the time we just see the end product and we really don't see, as I said, what the photographer had to do in order to create this particular image. And most of this time we just basically getting, I don't want to say mislead, but we don't have the full understanding what was done and what kind of preparation and what kind of retouching process has to be put in place to get specific effect and specific quality. And that's why I think this is going to be best example, and that's why as I said, I've decided to go with this particular image. So let's actually go step by step, and we're gonna just talk a little bit about the lighting, a little bit about the settings, a little bit about the gear, and then I'm gonna show you my entire retouching process, which completely changed this image. And this is gonna be, I think, quite interesting for you guys. Okay, so let's go to the step number one. As I said, I've shot this image a while ago, and at that point I didn't have a much understanding about this entire process either, so that was also very good learning lesson for me, what I have to fix for the next photo shoot. But let's kind of focus first on the lighting. So in this particular case, I've shot this image using clamshell lighting, and I used two deep octas, my Elinchrom deep octa 39 inches, and then I use my small 27 deep octa from Elinchrom. And typically as always, I use my silver reflector 37 inches from Last Light. And again, as you guys probably noticed after watching my videos, my lighting setups are pretty much standard and they look the same. There's a few variations, but most of the time I'm using the same setup and the same lighting type for all my headshots. And in this particular shot, you wanted to have dark or black background, and I use a black fabric which did the job the way I wanted. But that was, I think, that the easiest part to kind of make this kind of work. So that was my lighting setup, pretty straightforward, nothing complicated, and that's how I got the shot. Okay, so let's jump into the settings and the gear. So again, pretty standard. I use my Nikon D800 with my Nikon 7D 200 VR2 lens. I use two speed lights, Nikon SB910 and Nikon SB800. We talk about the soft boxes, two Elinchrom deep octas 27 and 39 inches. Now let's talk about a setting. Again, pretty standard. The focal length was 200 millimeters, 1/80 of the second, shutter speed f3.2, ISO 200, and the white balance was set up manually to 5000 Kelvin. Okay, so that's pretty much standard. And now let's talk about the actual image. So now I'm going to reveal the most probably shocking thing for you guys. So this is actually the image which was retouched, and this is after this entire retouching process. So that was the image which was straight from the camera. So that was after. This was actually straight from the camera, so you guys probably can see huge difference. And I remember when I shot that session, I was happy with the lighting. Everything kind of looked okay, but when I start seeing the image, I've noticed there's so many issues when it comes to the skin. There's, as I said, there's no makeup whatsoever, and the image really didn't have this kind of wow factor. So at that point, I really didn't know what to do, and I was still in the process of learning how to retouch images. And at that time, I had no idea how I can take this image to another level. I remember I sent that image to retoucher, which also struggled big time. But after the years and years of learning, I kind of now see what I have to do, and I have all the knowledge and tools how I can take this image to the level which is going to have this wow factor. So that was basically the entire process. We're going to go through this entire thing step by step, but that was the main reason. I just wanted to show you guys that sometimes we might go into the photo shoots, and from our perspective everything looks perfect. The lighting, the camera, the gear we have, everything is okay, but the image still needs to be polished. The image still needs to have some retouching done. And if we don't have this entire knowledge, then doesn't matter how great equipment we have, how amazing lighting we have, this is not going to work. In this particular case, doesn't matter what kind of lighting would I use. The lighting would pretty much enhance some of those issues. As you guys probably can see, the skin has a lot of problems, and there's a lot of work which needs to be done in order to bring this image to some decent level. But we're gonna go for this. I'm gonna show you all the steps. It was quite a bit challenging. I think I spent about a couple hours to get this image to this level, but I just want to kind of show you that sometimes we see, as I said, images, and again, we really don't see what work and how much retouching or how much other stuff had to go into to get to this particular level. Okay, so let's jump and just go through this entire process, which again is pretty standard. I had to just repeat several things just to get to the level of the quality I want. So the first step was general cleaning. You guys probably can see there's a lot of pores, there's a lot of pimples, there's a lot of issues. There's some veins in the eyes. The skin has some really big pores, which didn't kind of help much, but I had to just slowly and step by step removing them. So that was the first step. The next step, which I usually do, is dodge and burn, and this time was pretty heavy. The skin, as I said, has a lot of discolorations and then a lot of, as I said, issues. So that was the first dodge and burn run, and it again took me a little bit of time to kind of get this to this level, but it's still not at the level where I wanted to be. So the next step, I've done a little bit of correction on the eyebrows. As you guys probably can see, I think there's a lot of issues. Some of those parts are darker, some of they're brighter, and I just want to make sure they have this kind of equal tone and looks kind of even. So that was the next step. The next step was a little bit of toning and colors, which I've done just to kind of bring a little bit of saturation to the skin and make sure that the skin has the proper color. I think in this case, bring some of those skin issues even more visible, but which like I had to deal a little bit later to just even out some of those stuff, but that's the kind of tones and skin color I wanted, so I had to adjust this whole thing. So the next step, I did a little bit of raw correction, a little bit tiny. You probably guys don't even see it. There was just a little bit of contrast to it. The next step, I went through another general cleaning because what I've learned over the time, sometimes we missed things, and we kind of go through this entire process of general cleaning, but we still miss some stuff here and there. And I actually decided to do this all over again and just fix some of those things which just came out throughout the process. The next step, again, I've done another dodge and burn, so that was the second run, which brings this whole thing a little bit better results. The skin kind of started looking a little bit better. It's not there yet, but at least I've noticed that I'm going to the right directions. The next step, I use frequency separation because I thought it's gonna be much hard to get to the level of what I wanted, so I've decided to go with frequency separation. Typically I don't use it, but in this particular case the skin had so many issues that I've decided, okay, I have to at least do a little bit to just bring some of those stuff to the level which makes me happy. Okay, so the next following step, I did a little bit of liquefying just to kind of bring some of the shape of the hair as well. I just want to have a little bit of symmetry to the image, so that was actually liquefying, and then I was just working on smoothing out some of those hair and then the body, just to kind of make sure to this whole thing looks kind of rounded and have a nice beautiful angles. Okay, the next step, again, I did a little bit of general cleaning all over again because there's a lot of stuff on the skin which again just came out from frequency separation, so that was the next step. Then I did again dodge and burn, so that was the third run. So you guys probably can see, usually I do two, this is the third already, and I've done a couple more, so you guys are gonna see it in a second. So again, this whole thing started getting some shape and started looking a little bit better. So the next step, I did a little bit of interesting kind of thing, and I attach actually to this video free brushes which you guys can download it and use it for your headshot. I found the eyelashes always bring something very magic to the eyes, so I've used this is actually brush which you guys can actually use, and yeah, you just basically adding the eyelashes, and you guys probably can notice the eyes looks way better. They have way more impact on the viewer and just bring something really unique and something magical to the image. The next step, what I've done, I work a little bit on the lips. I actually just give them a little bit more redness just to kind of make them look much more natural, and they're gonna match the skin a little bit better. The next step, I did a little bit of toning. I just want to make sure that the tones and colors of the skin are as natural as possible. So again, I've just run some different color toning and some color adjustments just to bring the skin colors to the level which look natural and looks much nicer. So the next step here, I added a little bit of more contrast just to kind of make, as I said in my previous videos, I like to have my headshots looks kind of three-dimensional, so I added a little bit of contrast to the image. Then I've run again dodge and burn, just the final one, and you guys can see there's very light. I actually just fix a little bit of highlights above her eyes. I found like they were just a little bit off and didn't look good, so I just want to make sure that this whole thing looks really nice and smooth. So that was very light dodge and burn. That was the last one, and the last step, I just removed, you guys probably can see there is some stuff on the background which kind of was bugging me a little bit, and I just want to make sure that the background is equally dark, and I just removed them really easy. So that was the entire process. As I said, took me a little bit. That was before, that was after. Quite transformation, you guys probably can see, but that's what went into this, and that was something which again, I just want to kind of show you guys and share that with you guys, because I think this is extremely important for photographers to understand entire process. And as I said, most of the time we really don't see it, we don't understand it, we just see the image and we assume this was the lighting or specific gear or specific lens. But this video, I think, exposed sometimes what retouchers and photographers are able to do to take those images to another level. So hopefully you guys like this video. Please feel free to send me a message or comment down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll chat with you guys very soon. Bye bye. Look a little bit more